and we should be live now. Let's see if that works. Looking at Twitch.
Twitch, please.
Let's hope things go smoother this time. Last time it was...
Yeah,
we had a
works.
couple of issues.
You're online.
Or just simply press the wrong buttons. Okay, seems to work. Awesome. Cool. Right, so...
I still hear you? I can still hear you.
So, hello everyone, I'm Luxin, for those who don't know yet. And with me again is Stefan via Skype. And today we have another dev stream. Yeah, I won't allow Stefan to say hello. I'm just talking all the time.
Why?
Because I'm cruel. So, okay, first thing first, let's just disable the Skype noises this time. Let's just remove Skype.
I think straw poll's down, so we can't. So let's just okay. Let's make the poll.
Yes. So maybe first tell people what it's about. So before we said we were planning to do some sprite art today, and that is still an option. But today I actually did some game development. I started implementing a new feature, like an entirely new feature we didn't even tease yet, I think, at least not in a big update. And it's kind of like about how the combat mode is displayed. And so let me just first show you the two things we can do today, and then you can decide what we will do in today's stream. So either, let's just start with the combat feature, because you see it right here. This is like a concept of what it should look like. So right now, when you start a combat in CrossCode, you get this kind of sign in the upper left corner. I'm not sure if people notice that sign because it's very subtle. And that's actually one of the things I didn't like, because I think it should be more noticeable once that you see that you entered combat. So I decided to create a new interface and also a new feature which kind of motivates you to battle more enemies in a row. And it's kind of like having, like we call it a kill combo, like doing more kills in a row. And so essentially the idea is that you have a better rank, which you can see here in the upper right corner. So yeah, Photoshop, I don't know why you keep jumping to the left. So you start with the rank A, and when you continue destroying more and more enemies over time, you will increase your rank. A higher rank will mean that you will get better items. I also got this random idea that we might even do stuff like enemies get randomly more angry and will be stronger. That's just a idea I had actually today and didn't discuss it at all. But that's just so we can do stuff like when you have a higher rank, battles will give higher results and may actually be more challenging as well. So we can do all kind of stuff with that. And the idea is that the rank keeps increasing as long as you continuously defeat enemies. If you wait too long after a battle, so let's just say it like this: when all enemies are defeated, the interface will switch to this style. So it's not red anymore, but instead you get this blue interface. And now you're kind of like in the waiting phase, which you can skip if you want to. In the waiting phase, the combat is still active, and this bar is increasing here. While the bar is increasing, you are still in combat, and you can attack another enemy to start combat again properly, so things get red again, and you will keep your rank that way. But if the bar is empty, you will lose your rank, battle is over, and then you can do stuff like opening your menu and things like that again. So that's the rough idea. And that's something I could implement today, I think. At least we can start implementing that. I'm not sure we can fully do everything to do it, but it will be interesting because you see a lot of development of GUI interfaces, GUI. I'm not sure how you pronounce this in English actually.
Yeah, just
GUI, like interface stuff. How interfaces are implemented. That's something you can see. So that's one option. The other option is that we can do some sprite art, because we are actually currently working on a new area. Like one we didn't show at all yet, I think. So you will be the very first to see this new area now. Let me just look it up. Where do we have it actually? I think it's recently opened. Let's quickly.
Show them all the files.
So this is essentially Rookie Harbor. That's how we call it. This is the town you find next to the autumn area. This is actually where your first steps on the land of Cross Worlds. And so you can see it has a strange mixture of I don't even know, a Fachwerkhaus, and this is some kind of a building style. There might be an English name, but you find this a lot in Germany, so I'm not sure. And combined with some sci-fi elements. And yeah, so I started working on that, and I can just continue working on this today. So you can see how I create sprite art, and in particular map graphics for CrossCode.
Yeah, another one of our sprite artists is also busy today doing some details, like boxes.
Oh, is he? Okay, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, yeah. So that's the other thing we can do. So now you got the choice essentially. So what do you want to see? Do you want to see more sprite art, like working on these graphics on Autumn on the Rookie Harbor, or do you want to see how we implement this kill combo feature, or in general this new battle interface? So we will create a small poll and post it in the chat now, and you can just vote now, and we will collect it in I think about 5 to 10 minutes.
Let's do this.
I think I will quickly repeat what I said later if more people arrive, so we get more votes.
Oh yeah, can you post it? For some reason, Twitch decided to just...
I can't. Well, I might be, but I don't have Twitch running on my machine.
And then let's...
Maybe Atlas I can post it?
Yeah. Atlas, sir. Of course, Atlas joins us today again as our moderator.
Yes. Hi Celio. Or Celio Hogan. Hogan. I'm not really sure.
Hogane!
Hogane.
Okay, I need to log in.
So yeah, these are the two things we can do. I hope we can get some votes here. So I think personally I'm more hyped to do the kill combo thing today because
yeah, why not go quickly to edge test and show off a little bit of farming.
Edge test, you mean? Should I show the trading feature too?
No.
No, okay.
Not yet. Not yet. Not
so why edge test? I can just go to autumn area. I think that's
for autumn area, right? Go to the autumn area and just. So something we did is go ahead. Sorry.
So it's actually Hogane. Interesting. Cool. So Celio Hogane. Awesome. I'm not really speaking English. Maybe that's the reason. At least not native.
We are the Germans.
So first of all, let's just turn down the music. Okay, you can listen to this yourself if you want to. Autumn path. So we added a few new things. The item destructibles, we have showed them in the last stream, I think, an early prototype. We did some polishing, so you can see now you can destroy those still. And they're actually placed where they belong, not in a metal ground, but now they're on grass and ground in the autumn rise area. And we have different type of plants, which actually throw different type of items that you can collect. And quick disclaimer again, things are being slow because I'm streaming, just in case you're wondering. So, so that's something we did, and you can also see the first version of the new combat interface in practice now. I just need to hit those hedgehogs. As you can see, now we're in battle mode, and you can see how the display changed. You get these red lines on top and bottom, and a small interface on the upper right corner. That's the current state of the new combat interface, essentially. Of course, I can't escape because I'm too weak for those, and you can see how it disappears once you're outside of battle. So there's nothing great about it yet, but if you now start implementing the kill combo feature, things will become interesting, because then you get a whole new system that you can use.
Yeah, Felix,
And
you
things like
need
that.
to put your camera view down because nobody can see the upper right. Right, so you can't really see the.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, that's a bad position for today. Let me just
Maybe bottom left.
yeah, I will do this. Okay, I guess that's better.
Is it like Devil May Cry the rank thing? Of course. Like rank S is stylish.
Mm-hmm.
A
Kind of
is
like this.
awesome.
It's also like the question how the rank will change over time. My first idea was to just increase it when you kill enemies, but we might also add something that will slowly decrease over time, just to make sure that if you just fight too long on one enemy, it's actually not good for your rank, so you have to be kind of quick about it.
Yeah, it's
I'm
kind
not
of
sure about this yet.
enforcing the idea of mixing up the fight, just like, well, Devil May Cry or Bayonetta or all these fighting games do it. If you repeat one move, I don't know if we do that, but all these nice items.
Right. Okay.
Something else we did is the item GUI now doesn't just show you every item you got, like you got one autumn leaf and then you got another autumn leaf, and it would display another entry for it. We changed it now so that just if you get the same item, the current entry will just be updated.
I hope to demonstrate this today, so maybe if I'm lucky I get a lot of items at once and you will see how...
Go up left in the...
Yeah, I will. Just
area.
hitting all the things. So...
Here we go.
Here we go. So as you can see, the number of the items is actually increasing up here, just to make sure that the list doesn't get too large and blocking all of your view. So yeah, that's more or less it. So it's just we improved the interface to be less occlusive. There was a word for that. I don't know. To not block your view. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, yeah. Did you just say the option?
Oh yes, we have an option. Sure.
Yeah, you can test it out. Like.
I hope I have it. Where is it?
Oh right, I don't know.
Faces.
Have I pushed it? I have pushed it. I think.
Item hit here is small. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, maybe there's already the option, but not the you will need to see.
Let's see.
Because I changed the options internally a bit, so it's easier
works.
for us to add.
Oh, this one's actually nice. I like it. Maybe you should make this one default. We'll see about that. I actually like the size. That's how features evolve. So you change something first, you make it an option, and then you make it default because I see it's just better. Though I'm still think we need to improve this font. It's not really polished. Some letters are kind of strange. Yeah. So that's essentially about. So again, for all those people who actually just arrived recently, today you have a choice what we will do in the stream. So the first option is that we will work on the kill combo feature, which means instead of just showing this sword sign up there, you will actually see a rank of your battle, which will increase as you kill more enemies. And with a higher rank, you will get better items from enemies, but you have to be quick about it. But because if you're out of battle for too long, your rank will reset. So that's the new kill combo feature. That's option number one. The second option is that we will work on a new area, which is called Rookie Harbor, which is essentially the town that you will enter before going into the Autumn Rise area once you play the game. So if you want to see how I do some sprite art to create new areas, that's the second option. And we have a poll going on right now where you can vote which one you prefer, and so depending on what has more votes, we will just do that.
Yeah.
I think
right now it's 7 votes for the new area and 8 votes for the new area, and 5 for the better UI.
I kind of thought that. I like new
Yeah, it's
sprite
always
is always
interesting to
awesome.
see like new areas,
Yeah, less
new
programming,
shiny
more
pixels.
more art. Yeah, but I'm fine with that. I just thought I would ask you because I'm actually interested in doing both. So right, I think I will wait for until 20 past and then we will start with
All
whatever
right.
has more votes now.
Yeah,
Okay.
now it's 14 votes for the new area, so I think that's pretty.
Okay. Just people here. People want to see houses and yeah, I guess so. Right. Actually, that's pretty interesting too because I can explain you how. I mean, you saw that already in the last stream how I use the gradients to adapt the colors of areas and stuff like that.
Oh, also Felix,
Mm-hmm.
I uploaded a structure, a basic structure. I don't know if you have seen it.
No, I didn't see it yet.
Really, really rough. You can open it so people can actually
Okay.
see how the area
I just
will
hope it's
look a
not too
little bit.
huge. I have a bit bad feeling about that. So where is it? CrossCode
It's
spherical
1,000 times 1,000. So, it's on the planning in.
planning areas. Rookie harbor maps sketch, I guess. Oh, oh, that looks good. I like it.
So
Actually,
yeah, as you
it's
can see, like
much more than I
huh?
thought it would be. Interesting.
Yeah, there was going to be more because
Yeah.
when I mapped this, but just a rough idea of how paths will work. So you
Mm.
start with the harbor at the bottom,
Mm.
and the center area is where all the markets are. And if you
I
go
like
up,
it.
you get to the alley.
Mm.
Like it's just basically just a U shape, right?
Mm.
So it wraps around. On the left,
Oh,
you'll get to the autumn area, and on the right, you will go to the jungle area. I haven't finished that one yet.
yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's
Something
cool.
I
I like
also
it. Yeah.
oh, thank you. All right, then we can
I
then.
really like how you made this small water and like this is supposed to be a lake or a fountain in the center.
Something more. You mean in the harbor
No, here
area,
you don't see here. You have a
in the
delayed
bottom one,
view.
or in the
Like
right
the
one?
center, the water piece in the center map in the center.
Oh yeah, that should be like the fountain
Yeah, I
thing.
actually forgot we're supposed to have a fountain. Yeah, we have to do that
Yeah.
too. Yeah, should be fine. Um,
Um, Something I also thought about. We need a roof that's like 90 degrees.
yeah, from the left to right, you mean like
Yeah, right.
yeah, turned
Exactly.
by 90
Thanks.
degrees. Yeah. Um, sure, I actually thought about that. Yeah, that's easy to do actually. I think we can do this today. That would be one thing we can do. Um, Otherwise, I actually thought about creating markered graphics, though that would be entirely new graphics, so that's more experimental. I'm not sure that will work. Wow, this is cool. You have a small fountain here. That's an awesome idea. You should also connect this one to the water, I think.
To the water.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the water needs to go somewhere. Okay, yeah, there could be a tunnel, obviously.
You mean in
You
the
mean
harbor
in
area?
the lower map? Yes. Ah, yeah. There's
Yeah,
always.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought like there's something like a little landmark. So if you just enter the
Mm,
city, there's again already
yeah.
something special about it.
Something I thought about is in general that the harbor should have some kind of pier going south, and then you got a big teleporter, which is essentially where you enter the map. So instead of having a proper harbor where you have all the ships, I mean there might be some ships if you find the time to create some, but initially that would just be a teleporter, and then just teleport there and you walk up the pier until you enter the city. So there might be another
Hmm.
map to the south of this one.
Right. Yeah,
I think
that should be a small map. So
yeah,
yeah.
it shouldn't be much work anyway to create that. Yeah, I really like it. That's awesome.
All right. Cool.
Cool.
I thought maybe it was a little bit too scram, but I kind of like that idea about having these timbered
Mhm.
houses. Because most cities that have these kind of houses are more like a little bit together. Everything is considered together,
I
and you
mean,
have
everything
like
is narrow
small.
and stuff, right?
Yeah, everything's narrow, and then you had got these big marketplaces.
Yeah.
So it would make sense, yeah.
Cool, cool. Yeah, okay.
Right.
Nice.
I
So,
think it's now time to
so,
start.
what does the vote say?
The votes definitely say go pixel the new area.
I will look at it myself. I will vote Guess the odds. It's not gonna work though. Yeah, okay, let's pick the new area. Alright. Okay. So then we're gonna close the game. So today there will be no game because we're just working in Photoshop today. No. Like it's just
Did you
about
just vote for the better UI?
Yes, I did because I originally wanted to work on that, but this is fine too. Okay. So, what should we start with? I think we should create this new type of roof you were talking about. I think that would
Yeah,
be a
it's
nice start.
something.
I think now what we have to do is arrange things a bit. That's actually I got an idea. I will just extend the image.
You can close the sketch if you want because it just eats up your memory.
The sketch?
Yeah, the Rookie Hauer map sketch in Photoshop.
Oh, nah, it
You
should
can
be
just close
fine.
the file.
It's not huge. I mean, if I would have opened the poster PSD, that would be huge, but that
Oh
one,
yeah,
that's nothing.
that's one huge file. Like 100 and
300 DPI
yeah.
for a H1 poster. That's insane. Yeah. So the first thing I'm gonna do is extend the image to get a bit more space. Actually, I should be tile aligned, so always go in 16 steps. And I don't know, I have to do some math, which I don't like to do in head, so let's ask Google about that. Yeah, that looks good. Stay on the right and extend it. So we got
Here first, kids. If you don't know something, ask Google about it.
yeah, because Google knows everything about math and you. Yeah, so the first thing you will notice I really like working with grids in Photoshop. I configured my grid to be 16 by 16 and divided twice. This helps a lot to work with chipset graphics. And what I very often do is in Photoshop you have this option which is called snap to grid, and I continuously enable and disable this option, or in general enabling snapping, because snapping to the grid sometimes is awesome, because if you want to just copy like grid graphics, you really don't want to make small mistakes because this will mess up everything. So you want to have snapping, you don't do these mistakes then. But once you work on the details, you don't want to have snapping because it's annoying. So you constantly just enable and disable snapping. Kind of sometimes wish there would be a nice display to see if snapping was enabled, but there's none as far as I know.
Maybe there's a plugin for it.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, if you want to talk about the layers, you should probably move your camera window again.
Yeah, actually, I think I should move it to the lower left. There's nothing interesting there. Just give me a second. Right, cool. Yeah, actually, let's talk a bit about the layers first. That might be interesting for people to get an idea what we're actually working with here. Now, for some information, I used to hate working with layers, and I still don't like to do it today. But there are some advantages to layers, and once I learned about this whole HD pixel method, I started using layers a lot. So actually, I can actually open the original version, which was done by T3, just to show what I started with. This is not done by T3, no. He's much better than that. Let me just look it up for a second. Graphics, sprites. No, I misclicked. I'm not very precise with clicking. Sprites.
Also, if someone has a question, as always, just ask away.
Yep.
We will try to answer everything, and Atlasser helps us in collecting
Here we go.
questions.
This card, yeah. Color management, I hate
Yeah,
it. So that was...
Felix likes to work with layers.
Yes, I really like to work with layers. Yes. English pronunciation.
Classic Henry.
Yeah, yeah.
Henry likes to do these kinds of jokes.
Yeah, look, that's why you have a layer on its own layer in all of my PSD files. Um, so that's the version that T3 submitted, which already gave a great basis for the structure. And I started adding the details, changing colors. And E had most of the stuff on the same layer, so it just got two layers, one for the ground stuff and one for stuff you put on top. And I actually now separated these stuff in a whole bunch of layers. You get one for the ground, then you get one for stuff that I don't know about. That's probably one of these original layers that I just cut stuff away from over time, so there's very little stuff left. And then you got the walls here. You get the metal ground, which is essentially the metal stuff you have on the floor here. You got the house fronts, you got the roof, which is its own group. Then you got another random layer, which is all the stuff I probably can't delete by now. Actually, I think I can delete this layer, let me think. Yeah. Oh, for some reason the glow of that one shouldn't be on this layer anyway, so I will just...
Yeah, it's kind of the problems with working with layers, because sometimes you just...
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I
some...
don't like layers. I mean, we should work on this pronunciation. So I don't like working with layers because I tend to just jump from one thing to the other, and then I just forget switching layers, and then I just edit the wrong layer, and things get messed up. But here there's sometimes a good reason to work with layers, and one of them is because applying color gradients is just awesome to modify maps. I will just delete this, I think. What did I delete? Yeah, it's fine. It's fine, I think. Yeah, one layer less. You can always be happy once you delete a layer. Not the layers. Okay, so there's one for Windows, another one for metal stuff, like the front metal stuff from the houses and a lot of other details. And then you got like the solar panel up here and the lights, which is actually not normal, but is actually added with the linear dodge add method. That's something you can actually do on HTML5. You can render sprites with this linear dodge method. And this looks very nice sometimes. And the grass, which I just copied from Autumn area, the leaves. The same for the plants, which are the trees essentially. And finally the shadows, which will also be applied on top with some transparency value. So that's essentially all the layers we have, and I use these layers because you want to use these gradient maps to modify your colors of your individual layers. It helps a lot to adjust things as you go along, because it's really hard to find the perfect colors right away. And no matter what I do, in the end there's always too little contrast. So yeah, I usually have these contrast layers, which just make everything more contrastly or something, like increasing contrast. So yeah, that's more or less the structure we have right now. And yeah, if I now want to add new stuff, I have to find the right layer. And for now, we will just add the new type of roof, because that's easy, and I think it's good to get started. I will just extend this roof here and make it move to the left. That's the idea. All right. I think I talked enough for now. If there are any questions or anything like that, Stefan now. Otherwise,
Who's with Luxon today? I am with Luxon today.
Yeah, as usual.
The usual one.
Yep, Stefan is with me. So
Just no one knew. Can you show how these color gradients work? Sometimes later, maybe.
Yeah, I can show this later when I actually don't think there's any point I will show it, so let me just show it now quickly. The color gradients is like you have a layer, like you can use a layer, or you can actually apply it on a group as well. That's actually something I just found out recently. You can create a group in Photoshop, which includes several layers, and then on this group you can apply a gradient. You create a gradient filter, but let's just do it for the plants here. There's this adjustment panel in Photoshop, and there you find the gradient map. You can just click it. By default, it will just be applied on the whole image, which is not that interesting. But by using Alt left click between the layer and the gradient map, you can just map this gradient map on one particular layer, in this case the blend layer. And now you can adjust the colors here. Essentially what it does, it just maps the colors more like on their brightness level to the gradient that you define. So the brightest colors take the colors from the left, and the darkest colors take the colors from the from the right. Sorry, I messed up left and right again. So the brightest colors take the color from the right, and the darkest colors take the color from the left. So when I make this black and this one white, you get a very nice black-white gradient, which is not all that interesting. So let's just make blue trees. Take like a very blue color here, and let's
Of
make
course,
it
blue.
also, always good advice when you do sprite art, don't just limit yourself to one color. Use color gradients in your sprites. It really makes it look much more interesting. So I just use blue for the shadow. I just use some green, which is actually too saturated. Let's make it a bit like this. And now you can adjust things, and as you can see, you get a live update as you modify the gradient, and that's what's so great about it. You can very quickly adapt the colors, and you get a very nice preview to judge the result, and it's just much easier to adapt colors by instead of individually replacing colors, because you always have to take care that there's enough spacing between each color and all that. So it's an awesome method. I really can recommend it. So the downside
You also
is,
don't lose the original.
yes, of course, it's just an effect that you can just disable and enable whenever you want. So that's whoever is ready to work with Photoshop and use this feature, it's awesome. The downside is you have to work with Photoshop, which is expensive and buggy and sometimes really memory consuming. But yeah. So let's continue with the roof now.
Someone asked, where are you from? I think I can answer this.
We are the Germans.
Felix comes from a land that is close to German, called the Saarland.
Actually, it was its own country once, but now it belongs to Germany. I think it once belongs to France. Yeah, it's kind of its own thing.
That explains everything. Yeah, we are from Germany.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
From all parts of Germany, actually.
Yeah.
So, okay, now the difficult question
is... We have people in the north, people in the south. We have even one coming from Austria.
Yep.
Which is German 2.0.
Okay. So now one thing I have to figure out now is the right shape. And I think it's one of these things where the perspective of CrossCode...
T did actually had something in his design.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that's actually correct.
Yeah, I thought
T
so too.
tends to do these things not correctly. I'm very precise about how things work, even though they sometimes look strange, and that's actually how it will look here, and as I thought it will probably look a bit strange. Let's just do this. I think this is the proper way, and it's huge. Well, actually, I think it works, more or less. That would be, I think, the correct way to how long the roof must be, if we really take the perspective of CrossCode into account, which is strange, because CrossCode has a strange thing where things are just as high as they are deep. So when you have this kind of diagonal, you have to add the y distance and the x distance together, and then add it together, and that's what you get. So that would be the proper perspective transformation, which is something you cannot do in 3D. It's actually something which doesn't correspond to any proper 3D, but it just corresponds to the way entities move on the map, and that's why we do it. So sometimes if it looks too strange, we do some cheating, so we don't really do it the way it is. But I think in that case I will go for it, because it also corresponds very nicely with the tile structure.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that.
So
I think we did the same, or at least not we, but Martina did the same with the Japanese.
yeah, we did the same. I actually made sure it was kind of like that it would correctly correspond to the perspective stuff.
Yeah.
So this one is annoying. I will just cut this a bit. This is, I think, the house metal thing, which is, yeah, The thing about layers is you're always looking for the right layer. Which is, oh my
Yeah, it would be
gosh.
cool if you could just press Control F and you would automatically search for a layer you
I
just
think
want to edit.
actually there's this weird feature about this pointer. When you click, yeah, it is, look, when I actually click, it does that thing. So I just have to press Control and use this cursor, and it actually does select the layer that has transparency here. But I think you have to explicitly select this tool to do this. But actually,
Yeah, I know, and I know what you mean. Yeah.
but actually this might work. If I learn to use this hotkey, which is just V, I might be able to use. I think that's a nice trick. Actually, I should try to use this.
You're welcome.
Thanks. So just move this down. Okay, here we go. So that's now our roof structure, which is just a block of color. That's something you should do first. Usually just yeah, okay, no. V, Control, click, got it selected, and still wrong because it selected the crew. Why did you select the crew? Ah, come on, Photoshop. I don't even. So whoa, no, that's too large. Okay. Yeah, so first start with the rough sketch of the colors and then add details. It's probably true for about everything you do with graphics. It's always a good idea to start with a rough sketch and then add details. So yeah.
That guy 0011 asked, is this the new design area? Yes.
Yes, it's the design for a new area, which is called Rookie Harbor. Maybe you can tell the players a bit about Rookie Harbor, Stefan.
Of course. Rookie Harbor will be the first area you visit after you get out of the dungeon, actually. So basically, from the path you walk, it's cargo ship, puzzle area, which will be the first dungeon of the game, and then you land in this little town called Rookie Harbor, which is where all players start in the game lore, and it's kind of like your beginning town, right? Like it's not that big. So if you thought you would really go to Rumba Square, sorry.
Actually, what we plan to do is you will be in Rumble Square, but only very quickly.
Yeah,
so we kind of tease what you can expect later on. So we kind of mean, but you won't be able to enter Rumble Square right away. It's kind of like a special place for the end game, because there will be all kind of stuff like arenas and I don't know what.
Yeah, it probably like for MMOs. There's also like one or more towns normally, more than one town actually, that have like these big cities where everything is, and that's kind of what Rumble Square will be. But you will basically, from this town, you go to two places. Of course, you go first to the autumn area, and later on you will also get to the jungle area, Rookie Harbor, and you can always go back, like as we said in updates and in earlier streams. There will be a teleportation system, much like Xenoblade had.
Yeah, because you loved it. It's so
yeah,
awesome.
because and we kind of have the same speed because we just need to load a map.
Yep.
Which is much easier than having like a huge.
I think teleportation will be much quicker than Xenoblade, which is mostly because it runs on PC.
Yeah. Especially
I cannot promise this for the Wii U version.
You just visited the map. Oh yeah, that might change. Yeah.
Loading times.
Let's wait until they released Xenoblade Chronicles 6 and see how dated.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just judging from my initial experiences with the Nintendo Web Framework, loading times have been kind of slow. But then again, I used the debugging mode where the data has been streamed from my machine to the Wii U dev kit, and that might be one of the reasons why it was slow. At least I hope that. But yeah. Then again, it's just as loading the game from the web page in the Chrome browser, which is much faster.
I think so too. That when the game load, especially if you download it, right,
Yeah,
then the game will probably load really fast.
I hope so. Okay. Yeah, doing some
Hey, maybe you
spreading.
can talk a bit about how you design the structure. So now we have like these. Oh, Jesus, I don't know the English word for those shingles.
A roof. Yeah, the stuff that you find on a roof. Somebody can help out.
Maybe Atlas cannot help us out. Oh, okay. There's a. Are there going to be shops, battle arena training? Yeah, yeah. Um, there will be shops definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we talked about it a lot in the last few weeks. There's also going to be a trading system, so there will be lots of NPCs standing around being able to trade, which probably will result in people like farming for an item and quickly teleporting back to the city to get the item they wanted. Really looking forward to that.
Actually, we might be. I was thinking it might be a good thing to kind of like keep a list on all the trading items that you found, so you can have some kind of way to find out where you can exchange certain items.
Yeah, I
Not,
think
we might be able to implement that because I was thinking in practice, if you have a lot of people around the world which can trade items, it will be difficult to keep track of that, right? So a system that
we
would be
can
nice.
do something like in the synopsis menu where you can like
This looks not so.
put in those. There's also going to be a battle arena, yeah, but it's going to be in Rumble Square, a part of the game you will visit later on. There are going to be some game modes like classic, survive 10 rounds, go to the top of the list, fight the strongest in the arena, stuff like that. It's also going to be a place where you probably will fight the true avatars from the
Exactly.
Indiegogo campaign. So we have two people who will actually be in there, and one of them might be here. I don't know if Suzui is here.
Photoshop, why do you refuse to set my pixel?
Oh, something cool too is that now Felix and I actually worked on a little bit of a change in the
This is weird.
editor system, which allows us to implement the shop system a little bit better because we can just make lists of items a shop can offer and integrate that directly into an NPC. So we don't have a new entity for it. We just use the normal NPC entity and tell them, okay, you're a shop owner, and
this looks much
that's
better.
your. Huh?
Oh, I'm just commenting on stuff I'm doing. Yeah, you're right. So
Yeah, you can talk about it, like how you think of these shapes, because I think that's interesting for people.
Oh
right?
my! But please, the thing about one thing I notice when I do sprite art, it's always a very iterative process. You almost never get things right from the beginning unless you have a lot of experience with that particular shape. And I actually found it's very annoying. Like, no, no offense, but it's of course feedback is great. But if you're in this kind of process and you're just spammed with feedback from somebody sitting next to you, it's very hard to work that way. At least for me. So I'm actually kind of happy I can ignore feedback for now and wait until I found a stage where I'm actually myself content with that, and then I'm ready to accept feedback. Like at the beginning, I thought the structure looks a bit like just some, how do you say, like Ziegelstein.
Roof tiles.
Roof types? Ziegelstein?
Yeah.
Wow, Ziegelstein are not on roofs.
I know. Sorry, I know what you mean. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, so kind of like
a
a
brick
wall.
you're talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly like a brick, like the main character from Star Mazer. um, So yeah, it's like a wall of bricks that what it looked like at the beginning, but then I added this small detail where you have I just made this pixel bright, so you kind of like see this roundish shape, and I think that way it looks more like that actual thing we are doing, which I still don't know the name of. Did somebody say the
Roof
name?
tiles.
Roof
Roof
tiles?
tiles.
Oh yeah,
If you want to have shingles, shingle.
shingles. Yeah.
I think that's like a very, very unique word. So roof tiles.
Okay, roof tiles it is.
I think especially the little details in color, just changing a little bit of the colors already
Mm,
makes a huge
yeah,
change.
yeah. I mean, just adding. That's what it's all about. Changing colors. I mean,
Changing colors.
all the
There you
time.
go. You want to be a sprite artist? Change the colors. Also,
Yeah.
something I don't know if we do it for this tile set, but for the last three tile sets, we actually had this rule of never using more than 20, 30, yeah, 32 colors.
32.
I think 32.
I think that's way
Maybe.
too large. Like,
Yeah, it's a lot, but
if you
it's
talk
good to
about,
restrict yourself.
yeah, but in general, yes. So using less colors is usually something you want to do. Try to avoid too many colors. Um, if you want to talk about technical details, if you develop a game for, I think, Super Nintendo or Nintendo DS, you're limited to 16 colors per sprite. That's
Yeah.
what people work with. So, and Leah actually has 16 colors only. She was optimized to run on 3DS, DS actually, only DS. 3DS probably can do more. Um, and yeah, so you can do a lot of stuff with 16 colors if you really plan ahead and be careful about it. So it's, of course, you can't do everything. You have to use a certain design. But it tends to really look really well if you do. So it looks like proper sprite art if you limit yourself with colors.
Mm.
So more or less, that's it. Yeah. Mm, I think it
Like
kind of works.
if I remember when I started like spriting, I always made this mistake of when I just want the gradient to like, just take the darker color, right? And I did this again and again for new sprites in the same sheet. So you ended up with lots of colors actually. You didn't even see the difference.
Yeah, but
But
actually that's yeah, yeah exactly. Just continue.
yeah, that was just like a thing I had to learn that using less colors actually looks better.
Yeah,
Especially if you're making these smooth gradients, it kind of loses that old school look.
yeah.
The same goes for pillow shading. Like there are probably some applications for pillow shading. I can assume
If
that.
you want to make pillows, I guess.
Yeah, if you want to make. But for characters or something like that, it just doesn't look good.
Really depends on what style you're going for in the end, but
Yeah, if you're being
as with
consistent with.
most graphical stuff, it's a matter of taste. But pillow shading really doesn't look like the old style 2D graphics that you know and love from the Super Nintendo and PlayStation area. They all are optimized for less colors, and that you can really see that. Okay, now actually what I'm doing now is I try to optimize the contrast. I got the feeling that the contrast is a bit too high, so what I did is just reduced like removed the darkest color entirely for now. I think I may have gone a bit overboard. So you see now here you have the bright tiles here, the tiles with the dark outlines, and actually those have a lot of contrast too in order to look at it. So it might be a good idea after all to keep the dark lines. Um, but I think I will still try something in between. So yeah, that's what spriting is about, just trying out things,
Yeah,
finding a good compromise. Um, you have to be patient. So
So are there any questions? Oh, no new questions. No new questions.
I think I like that one.
Let's check
Yeah, I
on
think I
where
like
we
this.
are with game development. Oh, we're actually on the second place.
You mean what? You mean
You
indie crashes
know
or where?
if you search for game development on Twitch.
Oh, awesome.
Yep, that's pretty nice.
How many does the first one have?
Way more, like
Oh,
420.
holy, okay. That
Huh.
must be a popular guy.
I don't even know, 2GD.
So I kind of like this tile set I have right now. It's somewhere, if you look very closely here, you have, I have to zoom in a bit, you have like very low contrast because all the outlines are on the bright color. Here you have a lot of contrast because most of the outlines are dark colors. And here I choose something in between. Actually, I think those are very close, but it's very slightly brighter, and I like this one. So
Yeah, I like it too.
I will just copy that. And that's the downside of doing graphics in, I think, about any program. You have to copy stuff to actually see if the tiling works and how things look.
Well, there
if you
are
map
some
them.
tools, right? Like you.
Yeah, I figured there might be some tools, but I'm not aware of any that work in Photoshop. And as I said,
I think there are
because of all the
especially programs for this kind of work where you just
yeah,
work on one tile and it automatically surrounds your
yep.
working place with the same tile. I think this works in Photoshop too, though. I don't know how
I actually
to.
looked at this once. I didn't find anything, though I didn't look for very long. Um, there might be a plugin for that or some add-on. Yeah, that would actually be really worth checking out. So to have some kind of system that makes you automatically replicate a graphic that you're editing, to have this kind of preview, that might really help a lot. So if somebody here from our viewers knows some tool like this, please post it.
Maybe you can also use the stamp tool or something like that to just copy over.
Stamp tool is like using so much blur usually. I only know it was using much blur. I never tried to use it for sprite art.
Well, there's something new to learn every day.
Yeah.
I like that. So a good thing is also we can just flip it. Oh no, you can't flip it. You have to make the right side darker, right?
No, not really. This one is the same brightness. Because orientation is the same essentially, right?
Ah, right.
So yeah, we can pretty much, well, here this one will be darker, but I can just cut this thing and paste it over to the other side, so this won't be much work. Yeah.
Right.
So of course there's a question, should we see some roof back here? And the answer is no, because on how the perspective works, it's perfectly diagonal. That means if you have like one tile, it's 16 down and 16 up again, because we're going upwards, and then you're exactly at the same point. So no matter how long you go down this roof, it will always be on this precise position, so you don't see anything. It's just perfectly aligned with the viewing angle. So it's correct that you don't see any roof here. I'm very picky about these things always, like getting the perspective consistent. I mean, the perspective of CrossCode doesn't make sense, but at least it's consistent.
It's well, people enjoyed link between words too, so. And
yeah,
like general the general 2D Zelders, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because most of them had a perspective that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you know, like what they actually did to make a link between words, how they make it work. Like the whole thing that they just scoot the whole background essentially, I think, and including some of the characters, just so that you can actually get a 3D view of something that looked like the original 2D graphics. Maybe somebody can look up the screenshot and post that, because I really thought that was awesome. So yeah.
This looks good.
So getting a gradient probably would be nice, I'm thinking. But then again, we don't have a gradient here.
Maybe. Well, I think it's something we can. Just looks like a really big area. So what we need to do is maybe add some details, like add a
some
uh,
variation for the roof tiles.
yeah, like this metal
And
antenna,
yeah, of
antenna,
course, metal stuff you put like the solar
and these
panels.
windows, these side
Yeah,
windows just
windows
from the
would
front.
be a good idea.
And we can also have TQ add some more details later on.
Yeah. Actually, I think I'm at least gonna try to do some roof variation. That also helps
Yeah,
to add
right,
some
right.
more details.
Some cracks. It's like something like I write it down for TQ. Add cracks.
Yeah.
Some just like slight
Oh my!
variations to the cracks, and we can just
Don't go to sleep.
put them on some of the tiles, and it
I
looks
just figured there's no light today. Yeah, actually now since recently when we start dev streams, there's actually light outside, so it's getting dark during the dev stream. Should I switch on light or not? I actually would like to switch on light.
yeah, do it because
Okay, give me a
it's
second then.
very dark in your room.
Hello again.
Welcome back.
For some reason my Twitch seems to be stuck. Is it only me?
Works fine for me.
Okay. I'll just reload.
Just Twitch being Twitch, I guess.
Twitch is twitching. No.
Yeah. Very fine. So, what do you guys think we should add to this area? Like for details. I guess some of you have some ideas. What would be a fitting detail? It doesn't matter if you already said it or not. Just like it could be helpful, right? Giving us idea. Birds, fountains. Good one. Yeah, fountain definitely. There's one.
Birds. Yes. Birds that you can kick away. I
Oh
love
no.
those birds.
No. But we can. I think we could.
Oh noes! Oh noes! What did I do? I just realized the tiles are not perfectly aligned. What did? Ah, look at this. It's not in the middle. Ah, this can't be. Okay, gotta do some pasting now. No, this is
I
important.
think it's too bright. It might look a little bit too bright here, but it's going to be darker in game. Also because of
the whole area.
Yeah, it's just a contrast that's a little bit high here, but it just looks like that because there are no clouds, no other effects, no entities.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. And there's also not too many shadows. Also, I just copied these trees out of autumn area directly without any color modifications. And they just stand out that much because color autumn area is actually very bright. Actually, I think I have a screenshot here. Just look at this, how bright this is. So just switching between the two. I think actually the brightness level is
he's just talking about the color of the roof.
Of the roof, particular. It should be that bright because that's how our shading works. Like these kind of orientations have a lot of brightness compared to these kind of shapes. So it's also about consistency. So it needs to be brighter than this shape, and there's also a reason why this one is darker than this shape. So I think at least I think we should keep it that way. But it might also look just too bright because it's just this whole lot of brightness without any details. I think that's
that's true.
Also why
probably one of the reasons. So yeah, birds. Birds. I think we could add the environment particles maybe.
Oh yeah, actually I had this idea already for the cargo ship that we like display the actual source of all the seagull voices. That was actually a plan
Wasn't
to
just
do.
Speakers.
No. And that would just disappear when it rains and stuff like this. That would actually be pretty awesome.
Right, we could do that.
That's no problem. The problem really is like we need to extend the particle system to make that work.
Yeah, it needs to support
It's a bit of
animations,
work,
right?
but yeah. So we need particles that kind of move interesting like this and are kind of animated in a certain way.
Well, you could make a sinus curve for the birds. Like they
Sinus
always,
curve.
if they're on the upper part, they flap. They flap while they're in between, moving up and down, right? And it looks like they're swinging. But it might look a little bit too stupid and too
Oh, it
regular.
might work. But the important thing is currently the particles are designed in a way that they fade away. And that's something I would like to avoid when displaying birds because it doesn't make sense that they just fade away.
Oh, they are more like in streets.
There will be far less particles, but those particles actually need to be persistent in that they only disappear when they're out of screen. And that
Yeah.
should work because whenever you see those birds, they will be flying very fast. So they will leave the screen pretty soon, and once they do, they disappear. But
We
it's
won't do
like a
any.
different kind of behavior.
Yeah, we won't do any RPG Maker birds, just entities
Oh
randomly
my.
flying around.
No, that's never. Like
or,
this.
or butterflies.
Oh gosh, yeah. But actually, it does make kind of sense for butterflies that they just move
Yeah.
around slowly randomly, but not for birds. I mean, that's I just you see this so often. Like you have a bird which is just essentially walking randomly inside in the air. That looks so weird. Yeah.
It was over entities, so it would of course be over you.
Something is weird. Something is not correct here. Oh god. Oh my god, no wait.
So bird found
The angle is not correct. The angle is not correct. It's like this. That actually has to be deeper. It's one more. It's so large.
colibris. Well, no random flying birds and no butterfly invasion in the autumn
Colibris would
area.
work, yeah, colibris
Yeah,
would.
butterfly. I would add butterflies to the autumn areas, but I think that's like a very, very priority S detail.
Mm. Before that, we have to improve our lightning effects. Like with the very strict, very strong sunbeams coming from one direction.
Yeah, we have to add very strong sunbeams.
These
I think that was
God rays are what they're called.
God rays. Yeah, I think that was serious. Like butterflies in the autumn area would make sense.
Yeah, that's true. That's something I would do.
Maybe it's something we can work on if we add more details. Like that would be something more entity based, maybe as a landmark spot where a lot of them are.
Mm. And that's where we at. That's how it looks. It's huge, huge roof. So we definitely need some details here to spice this up. I can start adding some details now, or we can do this later. Actually, I would prefer to add some more details on the roof now.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean,
okay.
I think it also gets a little bit boring just watching this. So some details probably more interesting. I think, of course, it's very difficult to always keep everything right from the beginning. Just.
You mean like to keep it entertaining?
No. I mean that when you sprite something, that you immediately have the perfect animation.
Yeah, that's not how it
tinker
works
around
usually.
it.
You have to polish a lot usually.
Mm.
So
I want to make an 8-bit side scrolling shooter, but I don't understand any of the game making tools, says Raymond83. Well, then we can always say the same thing we always say when it comes to game development. Practice and practice. Just use tutorials, use other games as basis, especially if you use game making tools like Game Maker or Unity. There are probably so much example projects you can work off and look at the code, look at how everything works, and start with something small. Don't start by making an RPG.
don't start doing CrossCode like we do.
No,
stupid.
yeah, it's like we didn't start that way, so
Yeah, I mean, strictly speaking, we did some other projects before that, but
yeah, we did other
it's
projects,
still
but it's
way too ambitious.
yeah, but just like even if you are already a game developer, it's probably very hard to solve an RPG as a first real project. Understandably, of course.
Unless you work with RPG Maker, but it's still a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah. Like if I can, like yeah, if you using a engine that is made for specific type of games, like Impact.js originally is more for side-scrolling games, right?
Yeah, it is.
So
Or
here we go
very
and
basic
used it,
top-down. Yeah.
yeah, and we used it to make a top-down game with 3D vision, simple 3D collision, uh, axis-aligned 3D collision, right? I think there's no rotation.
Axis aligned 3D.
No, we don't have that. Like we have everything is aligned on Y and X.
Yeah, it is.
Window rules, maybe even a windmile.
A windmile. Oh,
Windmile.
is it windmill? I'm not sure.
Windmill. I'm
I
sorry.
think it's windmill. Yeah,
Yeah,
windmill
I like
sounds
that
like a
idea,
cool
but it's
idea.
like how we could like rotate a sprite.
We could, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Oh, that's priority S for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not. I would place it in the left map or in the right map. Like the bottom, center, and up maps are basically like the inner city more
Mm.
kind of a deal.
Left and right map sounds good. Something you can see when you leave the map.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. There's actually a concept art by Freeze that kind of shows the meadows leading to the city, leading to the town. It's a very old one. And I always imagined like there would be a windmile. Windmile would be awesome there. Yeah, something like Contra. Yeah, Raymond A83. As I
Something
said,
like what?
like Contra. I think that for games like that, maybe Construct 2 would be a good option, or Game Maker. Like Unity is generally better for the games. Someone says, "Save your work."
Oh, good idea. I will do this right now. Yeah.
It's like something I always tend to forget because in WebStorm I never have to save. The IDE saves automatically, right? And I kind of got used to it, so I always forget to do it in Photoshop or when I'm drawing.
Hmm.
Mighty NICM says, by looking at Luxon doing sprite arts, I can imagine that 90% of the time goes into this.
Nope. I mean, it's really hard to mention how much time you already spent on CrossCode. Sprite art is certainly a big factor, but it's not 90%. Programming takes a lot of time too.
Yeah.
I mean, we did mostly programming, and but yeah, sprite art, it is a big factor. But content, just creating the content, that means assembling maps. We spent about at least kind of like a day to create a map in Automaria, right? Or what was it?
Yeah, it was a small map a day when we hadn't the height map tools.
Yeah, now with the height map, we speed that up.
With larger maps and the kind of map style that Henne and I started to work on in the later maps, I think it's not a day anymore. Like a larger map, maybe, because it takes a lot of time to put the entities down, but maybe 6 hours. It's about 6 hours. And I can imagine that when we start on working on Rookie Harbor, it will take probably 1 day for the first map just to get used to it.
Yeah, and what also takes a lot of time, because what I'm doing right now is just creating the bare graphics. But actually turning all of this into a proper chipset also takes a bit of time, because then you just realize how things don't align perfectly. You have to do a few changes. You have to like define the proper tiles that you actually can reuse. And we actually heard that some games like Secret of Crime, they don't even deal with proper tile sets. They just do whole graphics and to just use those
they
graphics,
do.
right?
Like they
Yeah,
do.
that's what I heard.
It's what they do.
And I can see why, because yeah, it is kind of a lot of work to turn these kind of graphics into a chipset. But once you have that, you can create more maps quicker. That's the whole idea. And the thing about CrossCode is also that like the structure of the maps is a bit more complicated than Secret of Crime, I think, because you get all of this height stuff.
Yeah, like there's something in the mapping process that probably a lot of people underestimate, because actually it looks like RPG Maker, right?
Yeah, but it's not.
But it's not. Like we have every little height is like 3 layers. Every height is 3 layers. Basically, you have the graphic layer, the collision layer, and the detail layer.
Yeah.
For every height, and then there is the water level.
I mean, just the fact that you have levels is different from RPG Maker,
definitely.
because you just have layers, but not different levels of height. Because usually there's no concept of walking, no concept of a third dimension in RPG Maker. That's something we added in our engine, and this makes the whole mapping process more difficult. It's actually something that I kind of regret. Like now over time, I understand that this is so much work. So for the next project, I might actually start thinking of remodeling the whole mapping process to make it easier. So kind of like having more automatic mechanisms to kind of connect the graphics with the dev. Kind of right now it's very disconnected, and that's why it's so much work. So you have to explicitly do everything yourself, connect it properly, and but refactoring this right now would be a lot of work. So that's why we just stick with it, and hope we will manage to just still create enough content.
It's something that's always also like you can create these base graphics, and well, you create them. And then when you go ahead and start mapping, you see like, oh, dang, I need that tile, and I need this tile, and I need these kind of graphics. And especially when we started working on the garden area, the Japanese garden area, we got all the graphics and we started mapping, and then we saw like, dang, this pattern on the ground.
Yeah.
Too repetitive. So we need some extra tiles to mix it up, and we kind of did that. And it was like another day of work to integrate these new tiles, because we couldn't use our auto tile mechanic because they were like details. They were random graphics, like larger tiles, not only one tile, but maybe 4 tiles that make up a shape, something like that. And so yeah, just like Hannah said, sometimes you make a map and then you go ahead and tweak it a day later because you found like, oh, you can do this. It might look cool if there's like a landmark here, like a subtle landmark, something like Xenoblade did a lot. Like they didn't have monuments everywhere, and everything was a landmark just by placing a big, giant boulder there, or I don't know, but they had landmarks just because of how the area looked. It looked unique.
Yeah,
I kind of like that.
Exactly. So a lot of you can create landmarks by just placing existing elements in a unique way. So let's say you have a lot of trees and you can place water. Just having a uniform distribution of trees and waters on each map looks boring. but then creating one map which has a lot of water and very few trees, and another area which has a lot of trees, you suddenly created two different looking areas choosing the same graphics. And that's
Yep.
something, that's how you can, by just mapping, you can create more interesting areas. That's something
Yeah,
that Xenoblade did just amazingly well, and something that
yeah, and
Final
you didn't
Fantasy,
even see everything, right?
yeah,
In Xenoblade. Like they had areas that weren't even in the game, but on disc.
yeah, something they had to drop, I guess, because of
Yeah,
time
and this area
limitations.
that they added was, I think, the left shoulder from the Bionis or something like
Yep.
that, and it was like huge. It was like they was like some hackers that walked through the area, and you thought like, "Dang, this looks so cool," and they dropped it
Yeah.
because actually everything else looked awesome too. Especially the wooden area. Like I think making like wood interesting is harder just because there are a lot of trees and like Xenoblade had like this interesting kind of deal with the jungle with this giant huge waterfall leading into the forest, and then the forest had like these tree houses and big openings where these huge enemies were, and then you got to the big tree. It was kind of nice.
Yep.
You also had like a canyon inside the jungle, which was like awesome idea. I like that.
Mm. I just love
Think
this
about it.
whole.
What do you think? What do you think? Actually, what everyone, what is actually thinking if someone played Xenoblade? What's the most boring area in Xenoblade? Like they're all cool,
Let me
but I would
think. I think, yeah, the most boring area, in my opinion, is that city of the
in the sea, in the big sea.
yeah, on this from this advanced race thing. It was
Yeah,
too expensive. And
it was too
it was
large.
so huge and so modern, and that's the one thing I didn't like much. It kind of reminded me of what you find in Final Fantasy 12 all the time, like these huge areas with not so much stuff in there.
I
And
remember there were quests where you just had to run around all the
yes,
time.
oh god, and I always hate that when it happened in this area, and there were too many waypoints, and that's
It,
one of the areas I didn't like, but it was essentially this area, and otherwise everything was pretty awesome. So they did an amazing job.
thanks a lot in Interregen Itoaradon for backing the moment I played the demo. That's good to hear.
Something Mechonis most likely. No, it's
Yeah,
not.
like the Mechonis had like a lot of metal
Yeah.
and like rusty structures. I think it looked like a Forsaken culture. Like people lived
Mm.
there, but it kind of felt like dead.
Yeah, I mean this area was huge, but it kind of worked in that sense because it was more interesting, I thought. I mean this whole Bionic thing, there was so much puzzle aspects where I had to jump up and down. They actually used the jumping so effectively in Xenoblade, even though the jumping itself was kind of like clunky implemented, I think.
Yeah, really clunky. Like you jumped and you
Though
immediately
though
got
the
your
voice acting was awesome, like Ryan saying "alley-oop," that was
alley-oop.
amazing, best jumping sound ever.
I remember the first time I played this game and you walked up in Colony 9 where
Mm,
you entered this like cargo hold, futuristic cargo
yeah,
hold, and then you saw Colony 9 in the back and you think like, can I
spoiler.
jump down here? Right?
Yeah,
And
and you
you
do.
go ahead and say, I'm doing it just because YOLO, right? And you're
Mm,
doing it and you land in the water and just walk straight to Colony 9. I thought that
yes,
was
and
awesome.
you
That
get an
was amazing.
achievement.
And you get
My
achievement.
mind was successfully blown at this moment. I really, that's
Yeah.
when I thought, man, this game is awesome. I mean, that's
I thought the game would just despawn me.
yep.
Never expected that. So we can already see we like
Yeah,
Xenoblade. We will always talk on stream about this game.
yeah.
Maybe we should have someone that kind of evens it out by talking about Skyrim, right?
I can't talk
Because
much about it.
I didn't really play Skyrim. I don't know if you played it, so
I didn't play all that many games. I mean, Xenoblade
I
is
just started it and it crashed and I never started it again.
what?
But probably was just my PC. So
So
right. If you want to make your game funny, just add English voice acting,
British voice acting, you mean?
British voice acting. I think the first game I really realized that was Dragon Quest 8.
They also had in British.
Yeah, they had British voice
Awesome.
acting, and boy, it was way too funny. I couldn't
It's
even
awesome. It's just
in very
original.
serious moments. I couldn't take them serious because this game was like a little bit more
I don't
lighthearted,
know.
so it was okay.
I mean, just having British voice acting doesn't do the trick, though. I think in Xenoblade it worked very well. In the last story, it wasn't quite as great, I thought. The voice acting was still okay, but not so great as in
In what?
the last story.
Ah, last story. Yeah. Right.
It also had British voice acting, but
Yeah.
it wasn't quite as nice, I thought.
This game was very brown.
You mean the last story?
The
Yeah,
last story was so brown. This whole game was brown.
Brown the
Everything
game.
had like a brown tone to it. Even I mean, you could
Yeah,
change the colors of your equipment, right? And I
but
felt like it still looks brown. I don't know why. I really don't.
it had very unsaturated colors, some kind of yeah.
Yeah, I like the game, but the
Yeah.
colors and the time skip. Sometimes the time skip. 8 months later.
Oh yeah, that's true actually. Ah, okay. So, um,
Um,
Fensterbank.
Ito Ragan. Oh, I just say Ito. Ito asks, "Will you try Kickstarter if you don't make it this time?" Not sure right now. We
Yeah.
might want to try out other options
hmm
for
I'm not
sure.
really
But
sure we can do it immediately. That will be actually
yeah,
very hard for us because we did this crowdfunding now for 2 months,
yeah,
uh, essentially full time. It's kind of hard on you because they are always concerned about it. So now just doing it right away for another month might be too much. So we at least need some break.
yeah.
Um,
Also
I'd also need to
being
prepare that
being
anyway. So
always there.
there's no point in simply starting another Kickstarter. I think one mistake we did among many is that we didn't prepare enough, I think. So we could have done much
Yeah,
better preparing the whole thing. Um, so when we do Kickstarter, we need to prepare first. I was actually thinking, so one theory I have why it doesn't really took off is, well, a lot of people, we got this feedback like, it looks like any other RPG Maker game or something. So I think what we need is kind of more game content that really sticks out, that it's more than just RPG Maker, which essentially means we need more of these parallax scrolling sequences. That's what I'm thinking. I think it might help. We already have those for Old Hideout and the planet sequence, and those they just display landscapes, and in particular the whole Old Hideout thing kind of looks like out of an RPG Maker game because you just use graphics are right out of the chipset. If you
mm,
compare this to like Aegis Defenders, I mean, they have some very nice animated pixel art sequences right at the beginning of the trailer, and I think that's something that really sticks out and probably works better for a first impression to see, there's actually a lot of work behind that. You can immediately see that. In CrossCode, if you just see on a screenshot, it kind of looks like an RPG Maker game, so you can really see how much work it is. And apparently even GIFs don't really do the trick, even though you can see the animations.
yeah.
But now
Marketing
imagine
aside.
we have some kind of parallax sequences that do not only feature places, but actual large versions of the main characters. I think that might actually have an impact. And unfortunately, that's a lot of work. So I would do the game without that, but if it would help for marketing, I might consider doing this.
Yeah, we also some of our advisors and friends and people generally also said that the demo might be too long. So they said
Yeah.
there's just too much content that people wouldn't be able to say that, why should I back the game? I have enough content to play.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
that's kind
that's
of that's a valid point, right? Like
yeah.
we can see that that's a valid point. Um, and they even they said to us that we should shorten, if we make another Kickstarter, we should shorten the demo version.
Yeah, that's actually something they suggest, and it's kind of troublesome. For some, on one
Yeah,
way, I understand how this might help, but on the other hand, we already released a long demo, and we have you, like people who already know the old demo. If you now say, whoa, the old demo doesn't exist anymore, now we create a shorter one, people might take it like the wrong way. So it might kind of sounds like a dick move from our side.
it might help people to get new people into it, right? To like back the game,
Yeah,
considering we making starter. But we don't want to just push away our fans for it.
yeah,
Also, they could just upload the demo version they have, right? And everyone could download it. Like that
yeah.
it would it would be so like I don't think I think no one on the team agrees that that's a good idea.
Yeah, though I would actually know if from the people here, what would you think? So how bad would you actually take it if, say, uh, just for this whole marketing purpose, we might disclose the current demo and create a smaller one? It's actually something we might just do for a couple of months, actually. It might not be for a long time. Um, just asking if you would take this badly or not, or if you think that would be a good idea or not. Just asking for opinions here, because it's essentially
Yeah.
about you here.
And maybe something that makes more sense, like giving the short demo to like people we contact. Just like it's like, here's a short demo of the game,
Mm.
and they would be more inclined to stream it because we don't use words like extensive demo,
You
because
think
that sounds
people
like you
won't?
have to play a lot.
I certain like people think, oh my god, this game is long. I'm not gonna play that. Oh gosh.
And no, if they say like um, for the demo, just the demo, it sounds like the demo is long, and they just want to get a quick look, and they might think, oh, it takes a long time to get a
Yeah.
quick look at it.
No. But then again, a lot of YouTubers say they don't even play demos. They
Yeah,
just want
that's
that
true.
full game. So
That's something
in that
we
case,
learned.
those people, well, you can only persuade them by saying, "Hey, our game at least has a lot of content, so it might be
Yeah.
worth a stream
I feel
or a
like
video."
do you might want to add a window there?
Yes, I was just about to do that. Actually, I've
Uh,
been talking and just editing the same part over and over
I
again.
just was,
It was kind of getting boring.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe you
so
have some questions I can just answer, and
okay, I will
you
just add the
can
window now.
yeah. So someone up ahead asked if we can change the funding to flexible funding on Indiegogo. We can't, sadly.
Unfortunately.
So no. Um,
Oh, the window is on
yeah,
front.
like
Okay,
make a
that would have been
Kickstarter demo packed with lots of features and then link to the full demo somewhere else. That would be an option too. We also thought about like, hey, why don't we make the other two options, the puzzle and the exploration part, available after you played through the story mode, something like that. But just but it's good to hear that a lot of people are actually okay saying if it helps to get more backers, absolutely fine. It's just
I actually expected that. I actually think um,
you
if we
guys are so
communicate
supportive,
this
man.
move
Thanks.
properly, like to everybody who already subscribed to our blog newsletter or social networks, we just notify everyone that we plan to do this move, and we are just transparent about it. Then I think people might actually go with it. So that's why I think it might be possible to do this without having a huge backslash. Um, but yeah, well, that's also only for those people who are actively following us. If we have some people who are just following us a bit and then they just saw the game on Game Jolt and thought it was cool, and then I want to play it again and say, hey, it's gone, it's much shorter, what's that? That's just stupid. It means those people will still be annoyed, so it's hard to say.
Yeah. So I think the main route should be puzzle mode. You're not the first one to say that the puzzle mode is the meat of the demo. I personally like the story mode more.
It's kind of like
I think it's very much personal taste.
yeah, it is.
What you're more into, like if you like more like this JRPG, more like your stories. But if you go to the puzzle mode, it's very fast paced. You can quickly go through it. I can totally see that that's interesting for players, but it doesn't really showcases everything the game has. In a way, maybe that we would probably need to find a way to showcase more what the game has to offer. And it's kind of hard because, of course, it's JRPG, so it has some grinding aspects. And it's the exploration part, and it's like we can't just minimize that in a good way without making it feel too small. That's actually the reason why I like the Final Fantasy 15 demo, because I can still get back to it and grind. And maybe take on.
So that means that people who have the Final Fantasy 15 demo, they don't need to buy the game because I can spend a lot of time with it. Right?
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
the argument.
I played it for 5 hours. I mean, it means something.
Yeah, I'm still kind of suspicious about this whole argument. I mean, we know that there's this whole thing that people tend to play games not quite as long as you think they would. But does this really mean we have to that it doesn't make sense to create long demos? That it's like bad for business? I don't know.
SS Vev says that he's not talking about the core of the game, but more first impression, because the story mode is like a wall of text. But I have to say, people actually did seem very inclined about the wall of text. Like,
yeah, that's a matter of taste thing, right? If you like to play the games that we actually like to play, which is JRPGs, we do like them. I mean, I don't like those that just have too much text, but a decent amount of text is still fine with me, and so I just like this level. But of course, there are players who cannot deal with that genre at all. Like, I also really like Portal because they managed to tell a really nice story with very little dialogue, and I can see how people really like this whole approach. But you cannot simply tell all the stories you want with that, and so that's why we go with that way. And I don't know. So in the end, you will have this many dialogues and CrossCode. It's just how the game works.
Yeah.
And if we just focus on the puzzle mode, it might just give the wrong impression. Awesome.
It's maybe not the first impression we
Robot,
want to
thank
give.
You.
It's maybe also not the first impression we want to give. Like, the game is about running around and solving puzzles.
Yeah.
First impression, but
I think there are a lot of people who actually. Yeah, sorry, I'm just.
I'm finished. Go ahead.
It's just that a lot of people actually, like, if I would be myself, if I would play the puzzle mode in CrossCode, I think I would be less inclined than if I would play the story mode, because I really like this kind of concept where you have a plot going on with characters and dialogues, and there are a couple of Let's Players who actually have been enthusiastic about the fact that there have been like a short game where there are characters who are actually talking. And because that's something you don't see very often. Like, you have a lot of indie games which focus on gameplay a lot, which makes sense because it kind of tends to be more doable just to focus on a few game mechanics. And now we're doing this crazy thing with the story, and that's something I think we shouldn't hide, because that's actually something you don't
that
find.
Makes ourselves unique, right? Like,
in a way, yeah.
In a way. Yeah, it's difficult. It's like, just as you can see, we always take every feedback seriously and think about it.
Yeah.
But it's also important to find a good line between taking the feedback, taking all the feedback and talking about it every time, and being able to just say, no, this is our vision and we want to do this because this is our vision. Because I can see that some players think like, oh, this would be a cool idea and this would be a cool idea, right? And we have to say, we kind of don't think so, because this would make the game feel different in a way we don't want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, you
But
should
there's still
always
valid feedback, right?
you should always listen to feedback, but
Yeah,
I
right.
think it's not a good idea to just take all the feedback you get. It's not possible, and you cannot. It's not possible to make the perfect game for everyone anyway. So, so my approach just to this is I want to have something that feels like a JRPG, just not make it too extreme. That's why I'm actually trying to keep the dialogues short, shorter than ever than I did before. Like so people who played my previous game Belzabor, it tends to have some sequels with a lot of dialogues, and even some people who used to play RPG Maker games were kind of annoyed by that. So I try to avoid that by just making the sequences short and having gameplay in between to keep it fresh. So it's kind of like the compromise I'm doing.
Yeah. RM Music says, well, demo Newgrounds was received very well by the community. You should have put 100 back to game notifications in the demo. That's probably something that's true. Like that's something.
What should we do?
Learn too, that we should have put more notifications in the game for players.
Actually,
notify them that this game is in crowdfunding. That's true. That's true. We thought that this little title screen would be enough, but it wasn't.
Yeah, that's true. Somebody else gave us this feedback too.
Yeah.
I have to head. This one is.
We're all a bit behind the comments.
So yeah, like adding a message. Somebody suggested to add a message right after the boss battle because that's like one of the intense moments. So you get a very quick message. Hey, you like this one? How about pledging it to make sure it actually gets completed in time? So that should work. Actually, it's something we probably can still do for the last few weeks. But the problem really is right now we are not featured anymore on Ucron, so we don't get this amount of attention.
Yep.
So we are too late.
That guy 0011 asked, if you guys get to go to E3 conference to be showcased and it's well received, what would you think you will do to proceed? Not sure what you mean. Maybe you can...
yeah, the whole E3 thing is kind of like concerning for me. I mean, I like this whole competition. I really hope we will be able to go there in the end. It really depends.
For us, it's always a money problem.
Yeah, it's only a money and time problem. And kind of like you have to be careful that it's worth it. So if you go to E3, we have to connect it to some kind of event that we're going to start, like crowdfunding. If we start another crowdfunding on Kickstarter going to E3, we should time this effectively to do the visit to E3 shortly before the crowdfunding or at the beginning doing the crowdfunding. So that might actually have a nice effect then. Especially if then we also get some attention from the press.
Yep.
But...
Oh, questions?
Yep.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, just that's fine for now. More questions?
Yeah, I just getting through because there are a lot of comments right now coming through. Oh, Newgrounds comments make me cringe. I hope the full game goes free on Steam. Newgrounds will always be Newgrounds. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like the downside of putting games on web pages like GameJolt, Newgrounds, because on those web pages you have a lot of people who just want to find some free games, and that's what they kind of expect. And they're surprised to find a free game like CrossCode, which feels like a game you would usually pay for. And you get all this attention, but it doesn't mean they are ready to actually pledge for the project. And I think it turns out that from GameJolt we get very little contributions, but Newgrounds is not too bad. Newgrounds we actually get some contributions. Yeah.
Oh yeah, thanks because someone brings it up. Thanks everyone for clicking in the Indie Crash minigame.
Yes,
Crash.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. We have a tight battle with the guys from Prismator.
They're getting more and more distant now, but it's fine. I mean, that we don't have to be first place.
Yeah.
But no, there are these other guys. Actually, I think they're getting closer too. So we have to be
Yeah.
careful. A third place would kind of suck.
We can come back. We can come back.
Also, the Prismata guys are cheating. They're using
Well,
tools.
it's not cheating really, right? Like,
It's just, yeah, it's just assisting. Kinda.
they're just smart little.
Smart little effers.
So I've when I look at it, I'm thinking that maybe the water. I don't know the English word for that. You know it?
Water?
The water gutter.
Is that a water
it's like
gutter?
a gutter, right?
No, it's not.
Huh?
No, it's not. It's actually just some random technology stuff that I'm adding here. But actually, you're right. I think
It could be a gutter.
a gutter would make more sense, especially. Maybe I should turn this into a gutter.
Yeah, do it. It's a gutter. It's already a gutter.
Yeah, it's not.
But if you want to make a gutter, it should stand out a little bit
Yep,
on the left
yep,
side.
you're right. I will try to do this. Try to still keep it aligned with the tile set, but that should be no problem, really. Having a gutter might be a very good idea, actually.
Oh, gonna increase my pledge for that. Thanks a lot. So putting in Sanic, the blue hedgehog, was a good idea.
Was it? Because we
Yeah.
got all the Sonic fans on our webpage, on the side of what.
All the Sonic.
I think also like, for some reason our music sounds a lot like Phantasy Star Online, which kind of attracted some people. So we got a lot of Sega people, I think, in our community, which is interesting because I didn't play Sega games at all personally. I was like entirely Super Nintendo. But yeah, just happened, I guess.
Yeah. I have a little question. Was CrossCode initially thought as an RPG Maker game? Ooh.
The first concept was actually implemented in RPG Maker, yes. I mean, there's this very nice video by Dennis. It's German, but you might still you can watch it and you can actually see some clips from the original RPG Maker game there. It's very well made. There's another one by Draki who also did the same. He might actually be with us, I think. Drixie, I think. I think that's him. He also did the same. He also did a very nice review of CrossCode showing the original game. So there are 2 videos you can check out. And yeah, it was originally done with RPG Maker because at the time I couldn't do anything else. And so I tried to do this and it kind of worked, but not well enough, and that's why I stopped. And the project was essentially on ice for many years, and then I got the random idea to try to do this on Nintendo DS, which was also dropped because working with C++ is a pain. And then finally I started the HTML5 version, and then Radical Fish Game was founded. So that was back in 2011.
A magical happening.
Yep.
Actually, you could have stayed with the metal thingy or metal design.
Yeah, I know. Actually, what I want to do is just sketch it with,
right.
and then do it again with metal.
I have a personal question.
Ooh.
It says Mighty Nickm.
Yes.
I can imagine that this game means a lot to you, and if the campaign is not successful, it will be pretty huge pushback for you. Or are you nonetheless happy to make this game fully part-time? Well, first off, you're not immediately starting to take a job and work part-time. I think first we want to try out different things. Like we already talked about it, government-funded projects in Germany.
It really depends. It's kind of complicated. We have to consider
it's complicated,
different.
Yeah. But we want to try out before that, and I don't know. I would be probably still happy as long as I can make this game happen somehow.
So in general, I think even if the campaign fails, it wasn't really a failure because
No.
because we just set the goal way too high. We did several mistakes, but I think the feedback was really positive enough to so that we know that we should keep going. We should try to finish this if anyhow possible. Um, of course, I mean when it comes to working full time or not, we have to consider different factors, also like private stuff, if we can afford to do this or not. And so that's why we really can't promise any quick progress if we don't do the campaign. That's essentially the deal. So we will try to make quick progress, but we cannot promise it. And so yeah, that's how it is more or less. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we won't stop. That probably
No.
most definitely won't happen. I mean, there's so much
I
stuff
personally
already.
don't see it much as a push back because we got a lot of contacts, a lot of people.
Yeah,
So actually, it helped us learn a lot. Could be better, could be worse, I guess.
yeah.
Um, it. Will you visit the next Gamescoms? I really would like to meet you, Games. Yes, we're going to visit Gamescom.
I guess so. Yeah.
I guess so. I will be there.
Yeah.
I will be there. I somehow will make it.
At least as a visitor.
Yeah, I actually have the ability to go there as a journalist,
You
thanks to
do?
a friend. But but
Okay.
I'm not sure if I can stay there for a whole week. It's a bit too much, I think. But yeah, I think maybe on the weekend I'll. I definitely want to go, meeting some friends, checking out some games. Will the games be still be available for beta? If I guess if the campaign is not successful. Well, as we said, we have options. One of the options would be to do the same thing the guys from Secrets of Grindia do, the Pixel Ferrets, making like pre-orders and trying to live off pre-orders. And if we do that, and you can like much like Patreon, right, where you like support the developers with money, basic donation, you would be able to get beta access. Something we could do,
Yeah.
and we should do. I mean, we have all the systems for beta users right now, right? Like the
That's
language
true.
editor. So,
You would at least be ready to do this.
did they use any special scripts, MOL patches? I think for the Epic Game Maker version, you just use the mouse patch, right?
Yeah, well, there was an initial version not using any patch, and he actually only played with the enter key, and the throwing exactly worked like in Yoshi's Island. So, like cursor was appearing in front of you and moving back and forth, and I can release to throw. And later I used the mouse patch to actually have mouse controls with cursors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just Lessa. Yeah, you can meet us. So everyone who is coming to Gamescom, we will be there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you will be wearing any special Radical Fish game shirt. We should really
We should do one
um,
great one, yeah.
should probably buy some. Yeah.
At least people should know how I look like. If I
Yeah.
can kind of keep my weight, I hope I will, or at least don't increase my weight.
That's
So
what you're concerned about right now. That's what you're concerned about.
yes,
Uh, yeah. So a gutter. I think that's cool. Fits into the whole
yep,
uh, the whole theme of
It's
the
like let's make it a sci-fi gutter. So I will just add some lines
sci-fi.
here and
We add
there.
colors, blurry colors. We add Tron lines.
Yeah, it's I just add Tron lines and then it's a sci-fi gutter.
Rule number one, if you want to make something sci-fi, add random lines.
Yes. They need to be horizontal and
Or
vertical.
vertical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe
There you
diagonal.
go. And maybe if you're cool and you want to have some alien technology, you also add circles.
Yes.
Because that's kind of alien. Lines and circles.
So alien.
Speaking of game cons,
Yeah,
what
kinda.
conventions, shows do you usually attend or want to attend around the year? We actually don't attend much. We probably do more now, right? I started visiting the mini game jam in Berlin,
I got the right
which is every
color.
month, but
Yes.
I'm not usually there every month. Felix is in the hackathon every month, every week.
No, that's not a
No,
hackathon. It's just a meeting of people programming on all kind of stuff or doing some technical
all
thing.
right.
It's not really game related, though there are kind of a lot of game jams in the area. There's one in Frankfurt, and I actually planned to go there at least once, but I really didn't find the time so far. Well, I thought I shouldn't do it because I should do stuff on a crowdfunding campaign, but if I have more time, I will definitely check it out.
Yeah, so big stuff like it's always difficult, especially if it's in America,
Yeah.
because it takes a lot of money to go to America. Alone then you need to live there, you need to eat there. So it always, as just Felix said, it needs to serve a purpose. Or we can just what engine is this game in? It's a custom-made engine done with HTML5, JavaScript, and the like, derived from the Impact.js engine. So we started off using the Impact.js engine and modified about 90% of the code.
And the
So we kind of call it our own engine now.
Yeah. And the engine we use for making these graphics is called Photoshop.
Yeah. Also, your
It's very
website
buggy.
caught my eyes with the scan lines on the main page and background. I was sad to not see them in the game screenshots. Because
What?
scan lines, because of the CRT monitor scan line effect. The scan lines, we have scan lines on the website, the CrossCode.
That's true. Well, we don't have the whole scanline effect for all the screens, you know.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah,
we couldn't
I don't like
really
those.
do this.
Just remove that.
We could make a simple overlay that displayed scan lines, but I think making this real old schoolish look with the old school monitors, we need a real shader because we
Yeah.
need blur.
Yep. It's hard to do with the technology we're using.
Yeah, that's something interesting because we don't use any free
WebGL.
WebGL. Yeah, we don't use WebGL, which is basically the option to do 3D in that.
We don't use this one. If people can see it.
We don't. We just use
not this one.
the simple 2D graphics, and it still works very, very fine. There are still tricks we use to like make these blur effects. It's a very, very easy trick. You render the same image, the whole screen, on top of the normal game with transparency, and you get a little blur effect. Or with blinking the character. That's the cool trick. Flashing.
Oh yeah,
flashing
flashing the characters is kind of like we have one canvas, and to make a sprite blink in CrossCode, we take that particular sprite and we first draw it on a separate canvas, and then we just switch the mode and paint white color over it, which only is active for non-transparent pixels. So you essentially get a white version of the sprite or whatever color you choose. And then when we render the sprite in the game, we take the original sprite and then the whitened version and put it on top of it with lighter mode and some alpha values to adjust intensity. And that's how we make sprites blinks. It's a very complicated process, but it worked fast enough. So
Yeah. Before that, we used to copy the whole sprite sheet, and
yeah, at the
we
very
applied the
beginning,
colors.
we did that.
Oh
It's
boy.
a good thing
Yeah.
we actually, that was one of the things that really concerned me when I found out that it was feasible to just use this trick. I was really happy, and that really motivated me to continue with the project. Because otherwise, I was kind of concerned about this whole Canvas 2D thing. You can do a lot
Yeah,
of tricks.
especially because nowadays we also started with normal flashing, and then we added the lighter effect, which makes it even more epic.
Yeah, it just looks better. Though there might be
Yeah.
situations where I plan to add non-lighter flashing. That's something that's currently not possible with the engine, but we might add it again, because sometimes you want to have things darker. Like actually shadows is a good example. Right now, these shadows that you see here, they're just embedded on the background. So if you walk on top of them, you won't get darker. You just the background is darker. You could just put those on the upper layer, but this still would look strange. So it's just overview the transparency. So if you just stand here, it's not really physically correct. If some of you know Suikoden 2, they actually have the system where they have shadows embedded on the background, but if your entity moves inside that shadow, it gets darker slightly. I think this kind of system would be possible for CrossCode 2. It's kind of optional because it's polishing again, so I'm not sure we will do
Yeah.
it. But we might be able to do this, but then we need to be able to make the sprite darker, and that's why we need some kind of flashing or color method, which is not using screen, but just regular colors. So that means you could just walk in the shadow and layer would be slightly darker then. That would really make it awesome, I think. I think that might actually have a nice impact on how things feel.
Yeah, it would be especially interesting for a town like this, because right now you can only see that every house is like the same height, but in the concept, I don't know if you can show it.
I
You can
can, yeah.
actually can see that these houses might be 2 stories high, and so
I think
like
those are
walking.
actually 2 stories high, actually 3 stories high.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean, right? Like you walk up the stairs and the house begins. Just show the concept up.
Yeah, okay, give me a second. I'm very bad at finding my files, so concept art, locations. Rookie Harbor, I think there were some spoilies in there. So here. So kind of like you can walk up the stairs, and I'm not really sure what you mean, Stefan, quite frankly.
I mean it like it would be cool to have like small alleys where it's darker, and your sprite would get darker
Yeah,
too.
yeah, that's true.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, it's definitely something that would make it look nicer. Yeah, so that's how it is. It's
Yeah,
all like
like
polishing.
yeah, I think the game will work without it.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, back to the gutter.
Back to the gutters. Actually, the only thing I'm doing is just copying the gutter over to see how it works without these kind of
On the left
shapes.
side, the gutter should stay a bit out. It should look like
On the left side? What do you mean?
it should point a little bit out.
I don't want to go beyond this line because it means another tile. So it
That's
has.
no problem. That's not a problem.
It is for me. Sorry, but I always have this kind of. We already have this kind of distance here, so I think it's enough.
Can we do it anyway?
Nope. I'll keep it that way.
You will not even notice. I met this, and you will not even notice.
If you really want to make yourself You want to have a hard time mapping those things. I
Yeah,
really want to keep
just map
mine.
it and add it later if I think about it, if I remember it.
Yeah, I think it's enough, really. They're standing out enough.
Should we add those to every side?
To what?
What do you think? Should we add those only to the left sides or maybe to both
To
sides?
both sides, of course. It makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm just too lazy to copy right now.
no, would be interesting, right? Just one side, and every time you go there, you would wonder, what the hell